All right, hey everybody, we're back with another episode of Legends of the Wild, and today I'm joined by Luke McFadden, who is a boat captain, a crabber, and definitely a kindred spirit of mine because he likes to build the most ridiculous, random things, but just like on watercraft. Whereas mine was like school bus, van, campers, like land yacht type stuff because I live in the middle of the country. He's done it a much cooler way that involves water. So welcome to the show, Luke. I'm pumped to have you on.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah. So I was right before we started recording. I was telling you that. So it must have been like early spring last year. I got this idea. I started seeing all like the tiny boat nation stuff of like, building out these like 14-foot John boats into like bass or bass and hunting boats and whatever. And so I started to get fed a lot more like boat and fishing content, like in the algorithm. And I was on TikTok and your stuff started popping up. And I think you were rebuilding some old boat. And it wasn't like the crab shack yet, but like you were doing all sorts of cool stuff. And I was like, man, this guy's doing everything that I love doing, like just like building something out of nothing, but just doing it in a way. So like I found you on TikTok, and then the other day you posted something. I was like, I've got to interview this guy.
Well, I
Yeah,
appreciate you reaching out, man.
yeah, for sure. So I think I want to dive right into it. We'll go back. We'll like Tarantino this. We'll tell like the first story. I want you to tell the first
Yeah.
story first because I'm so interested in it. And then we'll go back and I want to hear about like how you got into all this stuff. But the first thing is you posted a picture with it looks like it'd be like I'm not sure what brand it would be, what like that little John boat is, with like pontoons on the side for stabilization, and then like the smallest camper like built on top. It looks like a
Yeah.
caravan type thing, and like a
Looks like a
covered wagon.
Conestoga wagon.
Yeah, it's like a covered wagon. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So just where did this idea stem from? And maybe just I want you to go through the whole build, like what's the base platform and everything. So just dive into it.
All right. So it started with a Pelican 12-foot intruder, like a plastic John boat, basically. A lot of people are familiar with like the Coleman Crawdad,
Mm-hmm.
from back in the day. This is basically the same thing. It's like just a Tupperware container. So one of the things I do on YouTube is I buy ridiculous stuff on Amazon. Like you're a tiny boat guy. I know you've been on Facebook or Amazon or something. You've seen like outboard motors or any of this stuff. And you're like, that seems like ridiculously cheap. Like
Mm-hmm.
so cheap it might be a scam. So anyway, some of the stuff I do on YouTube is I buy those and see if they're scams. You know what I mean? Just to try it. And this boat was one of them. I bought it on Amazon. I think it was like $600 or something. So I was like, that's the cheapest. That's you can't buy an aluminum one for that cheap, and they'll deliver it to your house in 2 days. Like we
Right.
got to see if it's real, like or if it's a scam. And it turned out it was real. And so I had that, and then the pontoons came off of another boat that was on Amazon. So it's kind of a combination of like two Amazon boats. But
Yeah, because
um,
I was watching some of the clips, and basically this Tupperware container wasn't quite stable enough for
yeah.
what you were trying, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so it started with like there was this spot that I wanted to kind of like camp. It's actually an urban spot up like, I'm right by like the city of Baltimore. I'm like b- just south of Baltimore, just north of Annapolis, right there in the middle. And so there was this spot that I really wanted to like try to camp, but I was looking into like the legality of it, and it was like kind of weird, and I was like, well, I don't want to do any trespassing. So I was like, well, if I stayed on a boat next to this place, I could go there and check it out and then stay on
Mm-hmm.
the boat. So I was like, all right, well, how do I build a boat camp, like a camper on a boat really quickly?
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, I got this thing sitting around. So anyway, that turned in, it was supposed to originally just be frames, and then I was going to shrink wrap it with like plastic shrink wrap. But of course, that turned into, a full on like, I was like, well, if I'm going to go this far, I may as well do this. And then I was like, well, you're going to do that, you may as well do this. And then turned into building this like little Conestoga wagon looking camper on this little boat.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I took it out and did like just an overnight trip in it. And it was fine, but it was super unstable. It was just like, I couldn't flip it. Like I mean, I could stand on the edge, but like when you're laying in it, sleeping, and you roll over, it's like the whole boat lists.
Sure.
So I was like, man, it would be really nice if this was a little more stable if I could actually use it for some real stuff. So then I put the pontoons on it, cannibalized another boat from Amazon,
Yep.
and built all this stuff to put the pontoons. And then I was like, wow, it's actually like it kind of legit. Like I could probably take this, you could take it places. So
Yeah.
then I was like, well, I just put so much time and effort into this thing. I got to figure out. I was like, this is a great excuse to go use this thing. You know what I
For
mean?
sure. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's kind of how the camper boat was born. It's pretty much out of. I mean, I built it for like very little money. It's
Hmm.
basically made out of all just junk from
Yeah.
around the marina and scavenging all the hardware, the doors, like all that kind of stuff off of derelict, abandoned boats from the boat yard, and
Yep.
pretty
Yeah.
much built it for like out of trash
Yeah. Which
for
is sweet,
basically
which makes it
nothing.
way better.
I mean, I think it's kind of neat because it's just it's definitely unique because it's like reclaimed stuff. I didn't intend it to be like that, but it just kind of ended up being like that.
Well,
So
you've got like the wooden doors with glass windows with the dead head
yeah,
on the window.
yeah.
You know, it like looks like a miniaturized version of like, the inside of a sleeping, like a camper boat or like a cabin boat that you would like go
Yeah.
down below deck and be like, oh, it's like wood finish in the whole thing. So
Yeah.
it's very cool.
It ended up looking like, yeah, kind of like the first night was camping, and I remember laying there and looking around and being like, how did I manage to build something that's brand new, brand used,
Right.
but looks like it's 60 years old? I was like, somehow it's new, but
For
it looks
sure.
like it's been around for 60 years. I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. It's an art form for sure.
It's yeah, it's an art project, something
Yeah.
like that. It's everybody thinks it's a lot bigger, and then they see it either in pictures or in person, but I figure it to be 11 square feet inside.
Okay.
So
I mean, it's
that's pretty small. That's smaller than a sheet of plywood.
for sure.
It's like
Yeah.
it's like roughly 3 by 6 ish.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not much, and I'm 5'6",
Yeah.
so like.
Yeah.
I can lay down in it, but like, you'd be hard
Just
pressed to
barely.
be like a full size grown adult man and actually use this thing. It works
Yeah.
out because I'm like the size of a child, So like I'm an average size middle schooler. Great size camper for that.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I knew it was small, and I was like, I wonder how comfortable that was. Or like, I tend to way overpack on gear. Like,
Yeah.
I always joke, like if we do I can do an 8 to 10 day backpacking trip and have everything I need for that many days in a backpack. But I'll do a 3 day hunt where I have my truck, and the truck is just like loaded. And so,
Yeah.
I mean, it's.
I'm
I was
with
trying to
you.
think. You did a float deer hunt out of this thing, and I was like, I wonder how I wonder how that was like picking and choosing like what gear to bring, because it is such a small platform.
Yeah, yeah. So that is something that's actually like I'm still trying to figure out with this thing because I'm kind of the same way. Like I'm sort of like I'm over prepared in a lot of ways and under prepared in a lot of ways. But
Yeah.
when it comes to stuff, it's like, all right, well, you're thinking, once you're there, you're there. It's not like you're not going back to the truck, whatever. And I mean, with being on the water and stuff, like you don't know the weather, what it's going to be really. It just changes so quickly when you're
Hmm.
actually on like the bayfront. It's not like I'm on a pond, I'm like
Right.
I'm on the Chesapeake Bay, and that itself affects the weather a lot. And also, safety wise, if you were to fall overboard or get really wet or something, like, I always have a dry bag with spare clothes, and then you think, well, okay, well, what if that happens, and then you know you can't go all the way back. Like, are you just going to just sit there and freeze, or you're going to try to dry your stuff out? I don't, you know what I mean? So I'm like, I'm always trying to figure out. Plus, you just need like a ton of safety gear on boats,
Hmm.
especially for this time of year, like super
Yeah.
sketch out there. So that is definitely an issue. I've had to kind of like minimize the stuff I take, and sometimes you're just kind of cold,
Yep.
and it's the
Yeah.
way it is. But I try like I really try to pack in layers, like wear a lot of the clothes. Like a lot of times when I go do these things, like I'm wearing the same clothes, like, pretty much every day. You know what I'm saying? Just like, and a lot of times I'm sleeping in them because it's so stinking cold,
Right. Yeah.
So it's like that saves a little room. But, the other thing on like campers and boats and stuff like that's small in my experience. Like everything has to have multiple purposes,
Hmm.
or else you can't, bring it. Like there's certain things that I do pack redundancies, like lights and things like that, um, propane, whatever, heat. Um, but other than that, it's like if it doesn't have multiple purposes, it's like it's probably not making the cutting room floor.
For sure.
It's got to stay in the truck.
Yeah,
And you
absolutely.
just got to deal with it sometimes. So,
Yep. Yep. It
but
makes you better, right? It teaches you like what you can get away with not having for sure.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. My first build, I went the opposite direction. So like the first like hunting excursion vehicle was a 36-foot school bus.
Yeah, it's
And
awesome.
so which was great because at the time I was dating my now wife, but we didn't have kids. We weren't like locked down to a place. I actually didn't have a home for 6 years. Like I had a buddy's address that I used. And so I would take off in the bus for like 3 months, but I would pack. I like because there was so much room and I had built in storage under the beds, and I went the opposite way with the bus. Like because I had so much storage, I was able to like I was like, oh, I can pack for 4 different hunts for 3 types of season for several different weapon choices, and I could just keep jamming stuff in there. And then I had a 10 by 25 wall tent that went next to the bus, and for all the gear like overflow when buddies would show up or whatever. So I've had to kind of like reteach my brain, like, oh no, you can't bring absolutely everything. You need to pare down and like have just the minimal stuff for stuff like that. So
Yeah.
but tell me, like, I want to know, okay, so you're already packing minimal gear in this tiny little boat, but then you've got to like you're going on a deer hunt, on a float deer hunt. So you kill a deer, then now you got to float a deer out on top of that. So how does that work?
So phase one of the camper was the boat and the covering structure. Phase two was the pontoons. Phase three was building like these aluminum like walk around planks so you could
Mm-hmm.
walk over top of the pontoons
Mm-hmm.
because it was like really a pain to have to crawl through the tent every time you had to get to the front or the back, like if you're trying to tie up or anything. So I cut up all these aluminum steps off of these like mobile homes and welded them into these like planks so you could walk around the whole thing. And then I was like, man, if I got to bring a tree stand or I get a deer or anything, I got to have some way to strap it. So like before I left, I built this like basically like a cage that sticks off the side of it,
Yeah.
so that I could put gear in it, I could put the deer in it, all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah. You
that
built
was my
like a
solution to that problem.
it's kind of just looking at the photo, it kind of looks like it'd be like a mini hitch rack that you would put on the back of the truck kind of thing. Yeah.
Basically, that is what it is. Yeah, it looks
Yeah.
like a cow feeder. It
Yeah.
looks like those things they put hay in and the cows
Yep.
eat it out. But yeah, it
Yep.
was, and it kind of like it goes straight up against the tent, so you don't bang up the tent, and then it goes out a little bit, just trying to like make the most out of the small space. You know what I
Sure.
mean?
Yeah.
Because I increased my load capacity a lot with adding the pontoons on it. So
Definitely.
weight was a lot less of an issue. In the beginning, it was like every screw counted, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But then after you added that, I was like, all right, we just literally like doubled our buoyancy, so
Sure.
and
Yeah.
surface area and stability. So
Yeah.
we could afford to have it stick out a little bit. But yeah, no, that was an issue. Like in the beginning of the video, I go and build this thing because
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a second. I realized I'm like, if I actually do shoot something, I'm never going to be able to get it out of here. I was like,
Yeah.
you
Like
have
without
some way to get it out.
Yeah, I mean, you could always like quarter it up, debone it, get it in the boat, but like
Yeah.
there's something like I don't know, nostalgic and cool about like just throwing it it's like you're throwing it in the back of the pickup bed and hauling
It's
it
like
home like
strapping
that.
it to the roof of
It's so cool.
your car, man. And it's cool. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. So I know, I mean, this was a deer hunt, so you're, like you said, kind of crabbing season had finished up, so like you're, able to do more big game hunting. But tell me about how you got into all this stuff, because like your bio on your Instagram is first generation, crabber, like the whole thing.
Yeah.
How did you end up in this, like the whole setup, or like where did it start?
Like, what do you mean? Like how
Crabbing,
raw?
like how did you get
Oh,
into yeah.
I mean, I grew up here in Pasadena, Maryland, and we live on like peninsulas, so there's water on three sides of pretty much everything. And I don't know. I always loved fishing. My dad lives up in like Northwest Pennsylvania. I used to spend a lot of summers with him and then go
Hmm.
visit him during deer season. So, he really got me into the outdoors. Besides him, nobody in my family does anything outside in
Yeah.
terms of like, they don't own fishing, they don't fish, they don't hunt, they don't. So I was kind of the outlier, here. Um, but every day I was out fishing and whatever, and I got a boat, bought my first boat when I was like 11 out of the penny saver, a little
Nice.
rowboat,
Yeah.
and I could walk it down to the end of the road. I used to like cut the neighbor's grass because they, where people down the end of the street had houses on the water. So to get access, I would like cut their grass and stuff and fix their lawnmowers so they let me fish or put in the boat. And I just thought crabbing would be a really cool thing. My parents had a friend that was a commercial crab fisherman, and I'd never done it, never heard of it, but I just was like, oh, a job, a summer job where I could just be like outside on the water. It sounds great. Um, so I started working on that, working with him when I was like 12, on the boat and off the boat, fixing crab pots and
Hmm.
just doing literally the worst jobs ever.
Yeah. You're doing the grunt work.
Yeah, exactly. But dude, I was just happy to be involved,
Hmm.
like seriously. Um, yeah, one thing led to the next. I started helping him on the boat pretty much full time and did that till I was 18, and then 18 bought my own boat and a license, really crappy boat. I've started out crabbing and one thing led to the next and now we're here. I've done some 29, so I've done 11 crab seasons of running my own boat. But in reality, I've been crabbing like for a while,
Yeah.
almost 20 years, I guess.
Yeah.
It's kind of been the only job I've really had.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. You still love it every year when it
Yeah,
comes around?
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's definitely a job, man. It's just you talk to any commercial fisherman, they know how it is. You got to be married to it, and it's just there's no two ways around the fact that everything about it's just like a load of work,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, you gotta love it. If you don't
Yeah.
love it, then it ain't
Yeah.
worth
No,
it.
you'd be burnt out so fast and just, you'd be
Yeah,
mad every day you woke up. But I
yeah,
think yeah.
seriously.
And then just going back, I watched a whole bunch of your videos and stuff. I think one of the cool things that I've seen is your wife now, right? But
Hmm.
yeah, I thought you were married. But the the boat that you turned into the crab stand is awesome. So
Thanks.
I did 2 years of call it whatever field marketing for
Hmm.
Yeti coolers, and so we did these pop up shops with like a horse trailer, and kind of made it's like the whole idea of this tour was to like talk to customers, like the consumer facing thing, and show people the lifestyle. So like my brain's kind of always been wired to like creating cool experiences for customers,
Yeah.
and watching you guys build the crab shack out of the old boat, I was like, it's the perfect it's the perfect thing to build one out of, obviously. Has that added to the fun of like knowing you're going into crab season and then having that like direct to consumer like thing that you're doing with your wife? Like, has that added to the fun of crabbing every year, or is it added
I don't know.
stress?
I don't want to say it's added to the fun.
Yeah,
I will, it has been very helpful for the business.
yeah,
It's been really awesome. Um, it has definitely added to the stress.
mm-hmm.
Um, so for the first like 7 or 8 years, I crabbed. I just sold, I just crabbed Monday through Friday or Monday through Saturday. And then I just had markets, wholesales, restaurants, things like that. You just drop crabs off, pick up a check. Like it's not quite that easy, but it basically is, you're mostly responsible for catching them and finding market, right? And then people will buy them for the most part. And then, I wanted to kind of just the way the industry's going and the market's going and everything, like, margins are getting slim.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm young for the industry. The average age of a license holder is 59, 58 now. So, and I'm
Yeah,
29. So
yeah,
there's I'm half the age of
bit
the
of an age
average
gap.
crabber. So I figured I have a long, I probably have a while in this industry still. So I should probably figure out, start early and trying to figure out how to sell direct to customer. Like,
Yeah,
so I have a little more control over the price of my product. Um, so that's actually how I started making videos in the first place was that, I started making TikTok videos to try to just sell the crabs and
yeah,
whatever else. But then, yes, so I started the crab stand and then, it used to just be my wife and I in lawn chairs in the out of the back of a pickup truck, and then it went to I bought a trailer, and then after I'd run the trailer for a couple years, I wanted something a little different, a little cool. As the social media stuff started to grow
Mm-hmm.
and the crab business started to grow, we started to get a lot more customers that were traveling, to come see it, and it was becoming a little bit more of like, yeah, we were selling crabs and stuff, but the social media stuff, people were like making it sort of a destination almost,
Mm-hmm.
like they were taking day trips there and stuff. And I was just like, I always felt really bad because people were like, oh yeah, we came from wherever. And, it's just me and my wife sitting in a lawn chair, out of the back of this like trailer in this like empty lot that I bought in town. And I just always felt terrible. I was like, I wish I had more for, you know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
know this is super underwhelming. So I was like, all right, well, what can we, what can we kind of come up with? And, the number one thing, everybody would come by the stand and say, tell me a story about, their dad or their granddad or their friend or somebody that crabbed and, tell me about their boats. And everybody always wanted to come and see the boat or buy crabs right off the boat or
Yeah.
something like that. And I was like, well, in reality, I really can't have everybody come down to the marina and buy them. It just
For
doesn't work
sure.
that way.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, how can I kind of share that with the people, kind of bring that experience. And so I wanted to get a building built at my lot, but it was like $250,000. And I ran the numbers. I was like, it's not going to make $250,000 difference in the amount of, I didn't think.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't want to do that. That's way too much. So and then I called the county. It was like, what can I do here? Yada, yada. And then I don't know. I just had this ridiculous idea. I was like, there's a load of like boatyards are full of these old wooden crab boats that are like super cool looking, but nobody's fixing these things. They're getting burned, burned and cut up. And so anyway, I found that one on Facebook for $700. And
Nice.
I was like, you know, I know I can make the square footage I have inside a crab boat work pretty efficiently, from all my experience crabbing.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, well, what if we just kind of did that same thing, but, on land? So
Yeah.
got the boat, towed it home. It was sunk. It was in terrible shape. Towed it home, hauled it up, tore it all down, basically turned it into a fruit stand,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
and then hauled it up the road and put it in the ground and made it look like it was floating, and the crab stand was born. And
That's
I tell you
awesome.
what, people think it's cool, man. Like
Yeah.
that was an idea that I have a lot of ideas, and most of them are not good or do not work out at all. And that was one that ended up working out a lot better than I ever thought. Yeah, I was shocked that
Yeah. Well,
it actually
it's
worked.
because it's a cool idea, and I think
It's
you
kind
did
of unique.
for sure, and you did exactly what you set out to do, which was, people who are traveling to come, kind of be invested in your brand, right? And like they want to like be a part of your story. Like you're
Hmm.
giving them that experience without, like you said, overcrowding the marina and having people come down to
Yeah,
the actual boat. So
yeah.
that's really cool.
Thanks. Yeah, it's really cool, man, to be able to like have this kind of access that's directly with like I guess the fans on social media. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so I'm there. I used to be there every weekend. I'm now there like every third weekend of the month, just because 5 days crabbing, 2 days selling for 6 months straight was just like burning me out. I'm not gonna lie. So
Yep.
I lightened my thing up a little bit, but it's it's just super cool that people know I'm gonna be there, and then to be able to like meet and talk to and interact and build relationships with these people that are like
Mm-hmm.
the true dedicated fans. You know what I mean? Like it's just, man, it's really awesome. Instead of, it's not like having like one or two events a year where you're going and doing this. It's
Right.
like, I have a direct line to the people that, you know, we're trying to make content for and sell crabs to and whatever, like that I can literally talk to all day. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I found it to be super helpful, and it's cool to be able to actually build real face-to-face relationships with people, in real life. People always come and they're like, oh my gosh, dude, that's so crazy. Like, wow, it's here. It's weird to see you online and then see you in person. And I think the same thing. I'm like, it's crazy to see these numbers on a screen that then translate into real live people that you can
Yeah.
like, we can talk.
Yeah.
It's just like it's nuts, man.
Yeah, and that part is super fun. We've done a whole bunch of events, taking the bus around, selling our merch and whatever. But like, I end up having a lot of people come up and they're like, "I was talking to you on Instagram," and then I got to be like,
Yeah.
"What were we talking about?" You know,
Right.
and I'm like, we were talking about a camera or this hunt or whatever. It's like, what's your username?
Yeah,
And they're
yeah,
like, okay,
yeah.
now I can connect, who you are. But yeah, like that stuff is super fun. Like, to kind of basically make yourself remember that there is a human on the other end of all of those usernames or most of
Yeah.
those usernames. If it's not a bot account from
Yeah,
Russia or
yeah, some
whatever.
AI
Yeah,
AI Russian bot.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, man, that's super cool. So so you said you started making TikTok videos. Were you making like kind of to build that like side of the business? Were you making YouTube videos before that, or how long have you been in the content creation on YouTube space?
So I've been doing YouTube like pretty consistently for like 2 years now, I
Okay.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I started on TikTok. We did a lot. I was making short videos. I did a lot of live streaming of
Mm-hmm.
us crabbing. Um, and that was cool and all, and then that really helped build the clientele out to sell the crabs.
Yeah.
But then it got to a point where, in reality, I was doing so much where I was crabbing 5 days a week. I was selling 2 days a week. This was before the stand anything. I still had people calling my personal phone number to place orders for pre-orders for crabs and stuff. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Right.
I was shooting videos every day. I was live streaming every day, and I was editing all my own videos every day too. And I was just like, I was so burnt out, dude. I was like, I can't. It broke me. Just as a, just broke me. So I was like, I either need to figure out a way to keep this going or basically like let it die. And so it got to be that I kind of had to go bring some, onboard some people.
Yeah.
And then when that happened, then I was like, all right, well, TikTok doesn't really pay enough to, it's not making enough money to really pay for these people. So what can we do to, kind of turn this into a leg of the business? And then, so then I don't know, started getting into YouTube stuff. And I actually like YouTube format way better. I like the longer form
Mm-hmm.
format a lot better. I feel like you build a stronger connection with your audience, and just have a lot more opportunity to storytell and just kind of bring them into your world and stuff like that. And I think a lot of I don't know. I liked it a lot better than short form stuff.
Yeah, well, it's just like podcasting, right? Where it's like instead of seeing 30 to 60-second snippets of somebody on TikTok or Instagram Reels or whatever, like you get to like kind of get to know them a little bit, and you kind of figure out who they are, talking for an hour, 2 hours, or whatever it is. Like you just be able to you get to dive deeper on all that stuff, and you're not just trying to like spit out a soundbite to get something done or like make a hype reel about whatever. So yeah, just like I agree, the long form stuff on YouTube is cool. I've enjoyed following along. I mean, I was looking this morning, you've got like 730 videos in just a couple of years. Is like that's cranking out some content.
Yes, a lot of those videos, I think it probably counts shorts too. So I was
Sure.
putting a lot of my shorts up there, which is like kind of separate, just because I was making a lot of shorts. I still do,
Yeah.
because we still have a lot of people that like to watch shorts and all. Yeah, I don't know how many long form videos. I mean, for at least the first year we did one a week, so that's at least 52. And then this year we started out doing one a week, and now we've actually been putting out two a week
Nice.
for like through the end of Q4. So I'll probably step it back a little bit in January, and kind of
Yeah.
me and my team will kind of you know take
Yeah.
a little bit of a breather, because
For
we've been
sure.
really cranking it out, because it went it was catching, it went right from the core grabbing and selling to right into like, all right, crab pots are on land, like all that's content too. We're making videos on all that, and then it was like, all right, how can we like step it up to finish out the year really strong? So
For sure. Yeah.
it was like just head down, grinding out as many videos as I could, basically,
Yeah. Well,
um,
I mean,
to put out
every
two a
once.
week.
Yeah, I mean, every once in a while you have to take a step back because what I've found is if you go into it and you're just constantly like pushing stuff out, whether it be a post or two posts, even a day on like the short form stuff, and then doing long form stuff, you get to a point where you're like, am I even creative anymore? Like,
Dude,
like I don't think
dude,
I'm out of ideas. Like I got nothing.
it's real, man. It really is real. Every I struggle with that. Every creator struggles with that. And then you get the self doubt. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You're like, and then you just, yeah, it spirals, man.
Yeah.
Like I 100% agree with you, and I've done it both ways where I'm like just trying to put out as much as I can, and then you're spread so thin, and then the stuff suffers, and then you're like then you're really hard on yourself, you know.
Yeah.
I'm with you, man. I'm learning the importance of trying to, you know,
Balance
not
it a little
go
bit.
not go 110 all the time, because I'm like that's just kind of person I am. But also, it's like when there's now so much stuff going on and so many people involved, and so, you
Hmm.
know, whatever between crabbing, selling videos, all this and that, the other, like it's like holy cow, you gotta. Sometimes it's wise to step back a little bit, you know,
Yeah, for
not just
sure.
run yourself into the ground.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell me about Used Brand. Because I think that's a cool brand in itself, but like,
Thanks.
tell me about kind of like the mission behind it, what you guys are up to.
Yeah, I just thought it'd be cool to kind of sell, you know, my own t-shirts and hats
Hmm.
and different kind of stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, basically everything I do is, I don't think I've bought anything new my whole life, really. So it's
Yeah.
like good as used, just kind of seemed like it worked. You know, I say it a lot in videos, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's we started that a few months ago. Just pretty much just launched it, and yeah, so it's my brand used merch line.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So I'm
Yeah.
hoping, you know, part of it's to kind of, you know, diversify the brand a little bit,
Yeah.
and whatever else.
Well, I
Um,
think it's one of those things too. It's so you have the crab stand where people can travel to and like have
mhm.
like the personal interaction, but like people being able to buy merchandise like ours is public land tees, and so we always like my brother and I. This is for Field and Stream, but like I lots of irons in the fire all the time.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
ours is like conservation you can wear because $5 from everything we sell we donate back to different conservation projects and stuff like that. So, but it's just a way for people to have like if they've been following you for a long time, they're like, I just kind of want to be like a small part of that as well, and so it gives them an outlet to like order something, feel like they're part of it, like can be part of the
yeah,
story, which is cool.
yeah, definitely, definitely.
Yeah,
I totally agree.
yeah, yeah. So you have like let's say over the last 2 years of projects that you've done on or ridiculous buys that you've done on YouTube. Do you have a favorite of those that people should go definitely watch, like or like
I so a few months ago I bought this boat that was like an experimental Navy hydrofoil.
okay.
It's like one of two. It was like literally at a junk shop on the side of the road, and I just saw a boat with wings, and I was like, "What the heck is even that thing?" And I was like, "That it's so cool!" And went in there. It was an outboard shop, American Outboards on the Eastern Shore, and it was basically a junkyard for old boats. And
Yeah.
uh, you know, ended up talking to the people, kind of becoming friends with them. I got a bunch of parts from them, and then they, you know, finally decided like, "Hey, man, if you want to buy this thing, you know, like we'd sell it to you. We just want to see it work." So I ended up getting that and getting that working, and it's a Grumman 1957 hydrofoil, with like a 1957 Evinrude Big Twin 35
Yeah.
motor on it, and so it's all period correct. We got it working, and it actually works. It flies. It's like the craziest thing I've
Did it
ever seen.
does it feel super sketchy like running that thing or not?
Yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh
Dude, I mean,
yeah.
you're in a 14-foot aluminum tin can from 1957, and you know, you got that much planing surface on each side, and then on the stern it's like that, you know. So, and it, you know, you're doing almost 40 in this thing.
I was just
So
gonna
it's
ask how
screaming,
fast
you
you're
know,
going.
and
Yeah.
yeah, it feels like you're flying. It's wild. So
That's
that was just a
crazy.
cool one because it was like it was totally something that like if I was that smart, I would have built it. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? But it was
Yep.
cool to find like a barn find of this thing, and then
Mm-hmm.
instead of like shoving it away in a museum, like actually getting it working and then using it. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's that I think is cool. I you know, it's cool. I love museums, but I like stuff that you can hop in and use, you know.
Yeah. So
Uh,
like in whatever materials you found about that boat, like I know it was like a naval like whatever experiment, but
mhm.
what was going to be the purpose or like why the hydrofoil? Do you know why they?
I don't know. I mean, I know in that time they were messing with float planes and, you know, like spruce goose and all these
Mm-hmm.
like weird things. And I know also just from doing the research at that time, hydrofoil technology was like something Russia was really looking into. They made a lot of Russian hydrofoils in that era.
Yeah.
I think is in in terms of speed and efficiency and whatever else. I don't know.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know, but it
It's
never
just a
took
cool,
off.
yeah, it's
Yeah, I
just a
mean,
cool boat.
yeah, and I mean I totally understand why it never made it. Uh, I mean, I would think in a military setting, like this thing just has too many variables
Hmm.
that, you know what I mean? Like the wind is wrong, the weight, whatever, it's not going to work right. It was very weight sensitive. And then in the commercial market, I know in 1958, they sold 200 sets of aftermarket wings called Sea Wings at the World's Fair.
Okay.
And, but the price of the aftermarket kit was like three times what the actual boat cost. You'd have to send your boat back to Grumman, and then after using one myself, I'm like, oh, you could never put just like anybody in this thing. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
somebody that's never been on a boat,
Yeah.
anybody can buy a boat. That's the scary thing. And it's like you could never just put somebody in this because they would 100% kill themselves. Like
Yeah.
it's like it's super sketch. So I was like,
Yeah.
I could see why I never made it to like the civilian market.
For sure. And I'm
Definitely.
thinking about it now. Like I remember my dad telling stories like about he grew up in Wisconsin and but on a, close to the lake.
Hmm.
And I remember him talking about stuff like so he would have been that would have been like the 60s and 70s that he was like around the lake a lot. I remember him telling stories about all these different like really small boats that they were putting giant motors on. So it'd be like single person cockpit in the middle, and he's like, "Oh yeah, there was like a few people on the lake that had those, but people just started dying, so they like they quit, didn't take off." Like,
Hydroplanes,
uh-huh.
hydroplanes. They were
Yep.
like these little wooden pickle forks,
Yep.
and they would hop up these little light engines and stick them way up out of the water, and you'd like, yeah, I'm trying to get a couple of those. That's
Sweet.
on my list of things to try to find. It's like
Well,
sketchy vintage stuff on the water is like
well,
right up my
well,
alley.
if I end up seeing one out there, I'll send it your way.
Sounds good. You let me
That's awesome.
know.
Yeah.
So
No,
I'd say that and the camper boat honestly are probably my two favorite like builds or boats or whatever from this year. And
yeah.
the camper boat just has like allowed me to just go do a bunch of hunting trips, which is like what I want to do anyway. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
So it's like that's the way to tie that into work. Basically, you
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. No,
It's
I
been a
mean,
lot of fun.
it's possible that like seeing that struck such a chord. Last spring, I was on a turkey hunt with my buddy Ben O'Brien. We run a turkey podcast called Roost, and there was these. We were hunting along a river, and there was turkeys that were living on this island in the middle of the river, and we were like, "We're going to buy kayaks. Like, we got to float this thing and hunt like on this island." Bird ended up flying across the river, and we killed the turkey, but we were like, I've been so much in that train of thought, like, okay, I float hunt like needs to be the next on the list. Like I need to plan whether it's a deer hunt or a turkey hunt or whatever. So I think when that came across my feed, I was like, oh man, that's just so freaking badass.
Yeah,
um,
I a lot
yeah.
of times I just like look. I don't know. I don't know. A lot of the things that I do, the video, it's definitely not because it's the most easiest or efficient way to do something. It's just because I think it would be cool. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like that would have been way easier. Could have been way easier, but I just thought it'd be a cool thing to
Always.
do to go
Yeah.
do it from a boat. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then you like look it up and you're like, wow, like I would watch a video of somebody doing this ridiculous thing, but there's nobody do like I can't find any stuff on doing it. So I was like, well,
Well, I'm doing
you
it.
could be the guy to do it. Why
That's
not?
right.
You know what I mean? Like
That's
make the
right.
video you'd want to watch anyway. So
Yeah. I think I was thinking about this line that somebody told me when I rolled into this parking lot at Mystery Ranch Packs. Was one of my clients that I've had for a long time on the photo side. And I rolled into the parking lot at Mystery Ranch with the school bus I had just finished. And the owner of Mystery Ranch at the time, Dana, came out and was in the school bus. And I'm sitting there with some of the other employees, and he gets a phone call, and he's like, "Yep, hello." And somebody asks, like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm just sitting out here talking to a guy who did something because nobody told him he couldn't." You know.
yeah, yeah, pretty
And so
much.
I was just thinking about that for you. I was like, just like not enough people, or like he wouldn't listen to him anyway. But sometimes you just end up doing things because nobody told you that wasn't possible.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
100%, man. That totally pretty much sums up my entire like career. It's like, yeah, it's like interesting exercises in free will is what I say sometimes.
Yeah, well, like who was it that's basically said we're put on this earth to more or less fart around and enjoy the experience. So, I
Yeah.
think you're doing it in a cool way.
Hey man, I just, like I said, there's just weird things that I think, man, wonder if you could do that. That's a lot of times how it starts. It's like, is this possible? And you look it up and like, nobody's done this, or, maybe there's not much on them. You're like, I mean, why not? And
Right.
go and just go do it. Just,
Right. Yeah.
see if it is.
Yeah,
See if
see if
it
it
is.
works.
Right, exactly. And, you know,
And most of the time you can figure it out whether it's an enjoyable experience or not. That's a different story, but like doing it a different way is always cool. Do
yeah.
you have any, like, obviously with that, you're creating content for YouTube and putting this stuff out, and you're trying to, you're not keeping stuff a secret until it's out, but do you have any like ideas in mind going forward that you're trying to pull off?
Yeah, there's a couple. I mean, so I went deer hunting on the one boat. I also did a duck hunting trip since then.
Nice.
But that video is not out yet. The deer hunting video actually goes out tomorrow.
Sweet.
And then I'd like to take that boat down to the lower eastern shore and hunt sika deer.
Yeah.
Um, that would be really cool. I was just shooting my flint. I want to shoot one with a flintlock rifle. Uh, so I was just shooting my flintlock yesterday for that. Um, and I really want to take. I did get another boat that I guess has made it to the channel so far, but I want to take that boat from here to like Ocean City, which is like a couple hundred miles in the ocean. So
Okay.
you go like all the way up the Chesapeake, through the C&D Canal, all the way down the Delaware, all the way down the ocean, and then back up into, so,
Cool.
but like
Yeah.
it's not, it's like it's a boat that you shouldn't do that on. It's like a John boat.
Yeah.
So I want to do
Nice.
like a couple 100-mile trip in the ocean in a John boat. So I'm still trying to figure that one out exactly, but
Yeah.
you know, I don't know. That's those are the ones that have been like on the front of my mind
Sure.
mostly.
Yeah.
Oh, there's an island. There's some islands too that I'm trying to get to archery hunt. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I have a ridiculous idea like the night before. And like I
Yeah.
said, interesting act and free will,
That,
it's like, hey, nobody says I can't,
that's right.
let's do it tomorrow,
Yep. Definitely been there. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but
No.
that's also kind of the beauty of it, man. It's
Yeah.
kind of you can just spontaneously do ridiculous things sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. Well, I mean, it's kind of, like the cool thing is like you have built yourself into a career, built a career around yourself to be able to do those things. And it's like, well, I would think this would be cool. Like the audience is going to want to watch this. So, like,
Yeah.
and yeah. Yeah.
It works out. I appreciate that the people watch it, even though I've had some very questionable ideas in the past.
Yeah.
They still seem to be on board. So
Yeah,
I'm like,
I just feel
heck
like
yeah,
I just feel like you're inspiring, the next generation of young people to like understand that you can just like come up with an idea and go try to figure it out. So that's cool.
yeah, dude. Like, man, people need to like go out, touch grass.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, they need to go and check it out outside, man.
Yeah.
Stuff's good. That one of the things that cracked me up the most, this camper boat thing. Went online. A lot of people saw it. And there is a ridiculous amount of people that think that it's AI generated, an AI generated picture. That
Yeah.
was like that was like a third of the comments. And then I even seen this thing these people were posting today, and somebody just sent it to me. And it's this truth scan thing, and it's the
Oh,
same picture. And
it's
it
your
says
picture.
it's this my picture.
Right.
And it says this image is likely created by AI. There's a 10% chance this photo is real. I'm like, what? I was
What are you talking about?
I'm like, this is insane. I'm like, I literally
Oh,
like
well,
filmed the entire thing and
yeah.
put it on the internet. People are like, no, it's AI. I'm like, what? And
Yeah.
then you asked AI if this was an AI picture.
And
I was
AI,
like,
yeah, even
and
AI
AI
doesn't know
said,
what
yup,
AI
AI.
is.
I'm
Yeah.
like, yo, AI is trying to take credit, bro. That's not cool.
Yeah, we are in for it's going to get way stranger before it gets better, for sure.
Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I'm
Yeah.
like, it makes me nervous, man, because it's like, I'm a totally like an old person, about all this kind of stuff. But in reality, man, I'm like, dude, it could put, you know, I mean, who's to say content creation won't go to AI? You know what I mean? Like, it's
Yeah.
pretty crazy. I mean, I've seen AI videos and recordings and pictures of me that are not me. You know what I mean? Where
Oh,
people have
it's
just
so
made
weird.
them, and it's super bizarre. And it's like, dude, that's just like, why would anybody watch the actual stuff I can do when they just want to watch like what they want to watch? They want to watch you do it, and
Y-
AI can generate that. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. Yeah.
I don't
I
know. It's
I,
just
I mean, I feel like there's got to be. I'm hopeful that people still want like to watch and see and hear like authenticity, right? Like I mean, there's certain things that we like to do, and people in this space like to do that. Like I don't think AI could ever. I mean, they could sure generate the video, but
hmm
it's not. You would know that it wasn't real somehow. I don't know.
yeah.
There's definitely. I mean, at least right now, you would know that it wasn't real.
Yeah, it could definitely go two ways. It could either go, the way of creating all its own content, or it could go the way where it creates more of a demand for people that are actually out there doing real stuff.
Yeah.
That's what I hope at least.
Yeah,
That'd be,
a part of me is like, I wonder if it'll at some level kill social media, because it'll get to a point where, call it 80% of what you see is fake, and no one will believe anything. And it's like, well, why would I even really go on social media if like
yeah,
nothing that I wanted to see is even real? So it'll be,
yeah.
we'll see. It's all coming faster than we'd like it to, or at
Everything's
least
gonna
that I
move to
would like it to.
like real time VR live streaming or something.
It's
You know
gonna
what I mean?
have
It's
to.
like, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
it's
Yeah,
nuts.
yeah. I posted a quick clip the other day of myself missing a deer, and I was like, I'd like to see AI hike 7 miles just to miss a deer at 300
Yeah,
yards.
right.
So
That's
I think
awesome.
that job's safe at least.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We joke that about crab, and we're like, AI would never do this. The
Yeah,
ROI on this is not near good enough for AI. Like
horrible.
they're not dumb enough to go out there and do this.
Yeah,
We might be safe.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Another thing I wanted to ask you, so a lot of what you like to do is, like you said, like order stuff that you think is, like, let's see if this is a scam. Is there anything that you've bought that has been, because I've looked at all those cheap motors and stuff, and I'm like, like, is it, you watch one video and they're like, oh, it's terrible, and you watch another video and they're like, that's pretty legit. Is there anything that you've ordered where you're like, this is like legit, would order again for other boats or whatever, whether that's a motor or a boat itself?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, one of the things we do or don't do is we never take like I never take stuff from the manufacturer for free because I
Yeah.
don't want to be, you know what I mean? Like if it
Yep.
sucks, I want to be able to tell you it sucks.
Right.
The Yamabeshi engines, all
Okay.
right? So there's basically like readily available. There's two flavors of Chinese engines out there. There's Henkai's
Yep.
and there's Yamabishis.
Okay.
The Henkai's aren't bad. They're definitely cheaper and whatever, but the Yamabishis, dude, the
Pretty sweet.
Yamabishis are pretty mint. They're a little more money. They're about 50% of the cost of a name brand like Yamaha.
Sure. Yeah.
But as far as I can tell, like I have a couple of these Yamabishi 10 horsepower four strokes. They're identical replicas um to a Yamaha that's just like 10 years old or 15. It's whenever I went down the rabbit hole. It's like whenever the patent or the copyright runs up on one of their motor designs, these Chinese companies, copy it. But the fact that you could buy basically a pre-emissions four
Yeah.
stroke outboard for half the price is like honestly a banging deal because
Yeah.
a lot of them are better. The pre-emission stuff they're better, more reliable outboards. So
Yeah. I'm gonna have to
the way
look at
I
that.
see it is buying a new old stock Yamaha and
Right.
for half the money, and I'm like,
Right. Yeah. Done.
they're pretty good. We've tried to kill them. We run them for 24 hours. We've hit them off limiter. We've run them on our 110% load. I mean, we've dumped them overboard, hit everything but the freaking lottery with them. I mean, you name it, dude. And they're pretty good. The only thing I haven't done is like put it on a skiff and run it for 10 years.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
But still, I
you
mean,
know,
it seems like you've done a fair bit of torture testing. So
yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm hard on stuff. We're crabbers, dude. We break everything.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, the Yamabishis, I recommend the Yamabishis. They're good. And then one time I bought this outboard on Amazon that just said outboard, didn't have any just said outboard motor, no pictures, no description, like nothing. I was like, ah, screw it, it's perfect. So I got it, and it was a Yamaha Enduro,
Okay.
which is like the one that they sell, like a two-stroke that they sell in other countries still. That's like another pre-emissions kind of thing, and that was like $900. It was stupid cheap, and that was probably dollar for dollar the best value. But they're sporadically for sale on Amazon. But I'd say go with the Yamabeshi.
Yeah. Well,
Tenkai's not bad. Yamabeshi way better.
I've been looking for like a 15 horse for a little. I've got a 14-foot John boat that I'm going to do a build on, and I was
Nice.
like, I've got a 9, or I've got, what do I have, an 8-horse 4-stroke on it, which pushes it pretty good. But I was like, after I build out the deck and everything and put the batteries in, I'm definitely going to need a little bit more push behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would suggest, something like that, or, I mean, I don't know. The only thing we haven't had to do a lot of is replace parts. A lot of times we have like multiples of these things, so we can swap parts. We have swapped some of the parts with Yamaha parts, and vice versa.
Yeah.
I, as far as I know, some of them do have interchangeable parts, so. And if you were to go online and order the Chinese part for your Yamaha motor, it's probably the same part they're putting on a Yamabeshi. You know what I mean?
For sure. Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah.
You are always rolling the dice though when it comes to Chinese anything really, but especially the Chinese outboards. Some people love them, some people hate them. I think the biggest thing is the quality control leaving the factory is not always up to Yamaha standards. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And then
There's a
I've
little
heard,
risk involved.
yeah, and then obviously like reading reviews on Amazon, you hear about like, well, the customer service isn't exactly existent. Like,
Yeah,
it's like,
it's not at all, dude. Like
yeah,
it's yeah, they're it's funny because we know them now. We talk back and forth on the thing, and they're clearly using Google Translate.
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like doesn't make any sense.
That's
They
awesome.
always get back to you in the middle of the night because we're on
Yeah,
opposite schedules.
right.
It's
Yeah,
kind of funny.
yeah, yeah. I was the other day I was looking at there was, God, how big was it? It was giant. It was like 18 by 32 inflatable tent.
Hmm.
And I was like, I could buy this on Temu, and it's like $1,000. But I was like, if I sewed in like a wood stove jack into this thing, like I could have like the ultimate deer camp wall tent, and then just like plug it in and inflate it out there in the middle of nowhere in a generator. And I was like, just
That would be
that, and
awesome.
then
I actually
invite,
think I saw those the other day.
yeah, and then
That's super
invite like
sick.
15 guys out and have like this giant deer camp or whatever, duck camp or whatever it is, but have the space for it. Like that would be pretty fun to do something random like that.
That would be awesome. I think I saw that same one. I was like, wonder if I could just put it on the water and float it down the river.
Right. Yeah, like
Hey,
basically do
look,
like
it's
a giant pond.
inflatable.
Oh yeah, true. Well, the one I was looking at, there's no floor, so it's like
Oh,
you'd
yeah,
have to do
yeah.
like a pontoon base for it if you did
Yeah,
that.
they're testing the world's largest air mattress. Just
Yes.
put it on top of that or something
That's
like that. Build a floor out of air mattresses.
Yeah, I can see this going well.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Well,
even if it doesn't, that's the beauty of YouTube is, sometimes when it just doesn't go well, that's good too.
that's true. Yeah,
We
it's
keep
more
it real
engagement
out
that way.
here.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
we keep it real.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Luke, man, I appreciate you hopping on. It's Christmas week. This will come out next week, right in between Christmas and New Year's. But tell people where they can find you and like what they can do to support. Like I just, been fun following along.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Yeah, I mean, we're on all socials, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, all that kind of stuff. You just look up my name, Luke McFadden, you should find it. Especially on like Facebook, there's a lot of fakes out there. Especially on Facebook, there's like
Yeah.
hundreds of them. So definitely look for the blue checks and stuff like that. Yeah, if you want to watch, we're there. Yeah, if you want to get merch, goodasused.com. We got merch, coolers, all that kind of stuff. If you're looking for crab stuff, we have a retail food line of like crab cakes, crab soup, crab chips, seasonings, all that kind of stuff. You can
And you're
find that.
shipping nationwide for that on some of
Yeah,
it,
yep,
right?
yep. We're in grocery stores, in a lot of grocery stores on the East Coast at least,
Yeah.
and we ship anywhere in the country. So
Awesome.
you can find all that stuff through my socials and whatever. Go dig around in the bios, you'll find all that stuff and whatever else. But yeah,
Cool. Well,
appreciate it, man.
yeah,
Thanks so much for taking the time.
yeah. Thank you. Just glad to get you on. I just had to hear the story, but with any luck, I'll make it out to the East Coast and come visit the crab stand and
Yeah, man.
just come meet
If
you
you're
in
ever this
person.
way, let me know.
Yeah, Absolutely. Well, thanks again.
Awesome, man. Thank you. Appreciate it.